Greetings, everyone. It's I, Riffraff Hornhelm, back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault. And today we have a monster review, and once again, a dragon. Today we're going to talk about the Gold Dragon, or Draco, Orientalus, Sino, Ducks. Ducks? Well, it doesn't quack like one, but it is certainly a strange name once again. And the dragon that we're looking at today is moving right on up the pantheon of metallic dragons, which make up 6 of the 12 dragons in the original monster manual for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, which, of course, is 50 years old this year. Wow. Boy, am I old. So, what can I tell you about the Golden Dragon? These are pretty cool. They're a very rare and large dragon, up to 54 feet. They have 10 to 12 hit dice. They're -2 in armor class. That's right out of the box. And they have some amazing abilities because 90% of them can speak. 100% of them can do magic. Finding them sleeping in their lair, well, you only have a 10% chance. Now, they're a very unique dragon in the overall scheme of dragons for Dungeons and Dragons. Boy, dragon gets used a lot, doesn't it? Well, it's important to understand that this is representational of the war between good and evil as represented within the game when the game first came out. And as you go up the pantheon of dragons, the good dragons become more and more powerful, as do the evil. But the good ones come out more powerful than the evil ones. And at this stage, the Golden Dragon, which is the second most powerful dragon, is pretty amazing. Now, what can it do? Well, of course, it has spell ability. 100% of them do. And they can have up to 2 each 1st through 6th level spells. That's pretty impressive. Anytime you get to about 4th level or higher in spell use, that can really create a hell of an opponent. You wouldn't want to fight one of these. They are true lawful good. And even though they have a rather odd diet, which includes eating pearls and gems, more on that later, they also have the ability to polymorph at will 3 times a day. And typically, I think as we mentioned with the Silver Dragon, these dragons will change themselves to look like an animal or a creature or another player character and not reveal their true identity unless they have to for whatever the circumstances may be. So most of the time when you run into these, you don't even know it's a dragon. You may be able to discover that through magic, but they're very, very adept at what they do. And of course, they have breath weapons on top of being able to claw and bite you and send spells and fool you through polymorphing. And their breath weapons are quite potent. Now, they're able to blast a cone of fire, or a blast of fire, however you want to look at it, much like the Red Dragon does. And they can let loose a cloud of chlorine gas, much like the Green Dragon does. So their breath weapons are very, very effective, and they're in the hands of good this time, as opposed to evil creatures like the Green and Red Dragons. These large, like I said, they're 54 feet long, are not easy to hide in their dragon form. One of the other reasons why they tend to be polymorphed. And of course, they often will carry even a spell book and have a variety of spells to choose from for each of their levels of spell use. Something else that's very unique to the Gold Dragon or any of the dragons we've spoken to up till this point. Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier is that, well, in order to survive, they eat a little bit differently. They have to eat pearls and gems. Fortunately, not gold. Oh gosh, that'd be horrible. But gems is bad enough. So even though us dwarves really admire the gold dragons, they are very, very effective as a dragon, and because they're lawful good, they don't steal anything from us. But you got to remember, all dragons, and this is something that people sometimes forget, all dragons have a degree of avariciousness and greed in them. Now, in the case of the gold dragon, it's going to be focused on getting gems, especially from us lowly dwarves, so that they're able to sustain themselves. Based on the help we get from them, and the fact that normally they will buy the gems from us, from their hordes, since they tend to have all dragons have a big horde of some kind. We generally don't have too much trouble with it since they pay for them. But at the same time, we're dwarves and we like gems. They're really special to us. Fortunately, these guys won't steal them or go after our very rare and dwarven specific gems. So I guess it's okay. Certainly, being gold dragons, they're very helpful. And we enjoy working with them because of how helpful they can be. I mean, on their best days, they'll make themselves look like dwarves. Now, that's the greatest compliment ever. Of course, they should look like a dwarf. That's the best look they could have. Now, one of the things that you'll find with the gold dragon, they're so powerful that in the pantheon of these various metallic dragons, they're number 2, second only to Bahamut, and there is always a group of gold dragons, ancient old gold dragons, that will serve on the court of the Dragon King, which is Bahamut, and live with him in his cloud castle up in the sky somewhere. Now, where do gold dragons live? Well, I guess it's kind of like the old joke, pretty much anywhere they want to. The reality is that gold dragons must lair inside of stone. Not going to find them in a cloud. You're not going to find them underground if it isn't stone. So it could be the stone walls of a castle. It could be the stone of a giant cavern. But it must lair in a stone lair. One of the peculiarities of a gold dragon. Now, gold dragons in adventures, like I said, and if you have an upper level group with some sharp magic users who are able to discern reality from fantasy in terms of things that are disguised by spells and so forth, you can find out that these gold dragons are really gold dragons and not portraying themselves as a person or as a pony or whatever it may be. That's pretty effective, and from an adventure standpoint, many times you're going to interact with these for an extended period of time before you even realize that they're a gold dragon. Now, if you're on the good side, these guys are an immense help, and they tend to have a fair amount of interaction with humans on the behalf of either Bahamut or themselves because they are lawful good. They will work with paladins. They will work with lawful good clerics. They're really, really good at what they do. And they're a cool character to use from a dungeon master standpoint. Bahamut will go off into the world as a wizened old hermit, and he'll have canaries that sing sweetly. Each of the canaries is a polymorphed gold dragon. And of course, Bahamut himself is polymorphed into a human. Some really neat stuff. As you can tell from the name of this, the Orientalus and the Sino ducks, this is really drawn from Chinese mythology. And the higher level dragons, both the gold and platinum in particular, are very closely based on Chinese style dragons. So they will look considerably different than, say, a red dragon, which is a very Western looking dragon, versus the gold dragon, which will be very Asian looking, or, like I said, it really comes from Chinese mythology. So when I talk to the folks in the HornhelmClan about this and said, well, what do you think of these as a player? Okay, what would you rank them at? 1 to 10. And most everybody came back and said, well, that's like a 9.5, 9 to 9.5. They really, really appreciate how strong this character can be, and they have exceptional intelligence. They're really able to work well with characters, and in many times understand things better than the characters do. It's all into how your DM plays it, because essentially they get played as an NPC. And of course, if you're going to play these, you have to do it in the spirit of both the character and the alignment of the character. They're not so easy to play because they really are a very powerful NPC. So really, from the player standpoint, I mean, they see this as almost a 10. Not as an opponent, though, because once again, as dwarves are generally good alignment, we don't run into these as an opponent. As an opponent, well, we've seen what they've gone up against when they've helped us. I wouldn't want to be their opponent. As an evil person or a evil alignment, it's going to squash you. It's lawful good. It has no tolerance for evil, and it'll make that plain very quickly. It doesn't fear very much. Once again, you're talking 10 to 12 hit dice. Okay, so really, that's pretty amazing. You're going to have a high level of hit points to deal with if you're trying to kill this creature. And of course, the spell use makes it even more difficult. 2 first through 6th level spells and a spell book. Wow, I wouldn't want to screw with this. And that, my friends, is what we think of the amazing Gold Dragon. We hope you enjoyed today's presentation. If you did, please leave us a like. Consider giving us a comment, a share. Really, consider subscribing. Doesn't cost anything. And we'll see you again real soon, we hope. Take care, everyone. And remember, dwarves rock!